After a decade of planning and hard work, we're willing and ready to attempt to achieve our national goal. This is possible because very many Americans across the nation have dedicated themselves to quality, craftsmanship, and ingenuity. I'm sure this American ingenuity and American craftsmanship has given us the best equipment that can be made available. And we're very happy to be ready to fly. I guess we're ready for your questions.
Thank you, Neil.
Well, gentlemen, out there at Merritt Island, you all look very relaxed, and I assume that you're all quite confident. But I remember, Colonel Aldrin, that at Houston at a news conference last week, you had some concern that the public might be a little overconfident. You suggested that the shouting ought to come after the mission and not before it. Do you feel that the public is putting too much hope on this landing on July 20th?
I feel that we're seeing about the type of reaction that many of us were hoping for, and that is a very enthusiastic public that has great confidence in what our nation stands for and what our space program's aims have been and what we hope to carry out in a few days for that American public.
Mr. Armstrong, there has been some concern in the past about Apollo crews becoming too fatigued by intense training in the final weeks before launch. How do you feel at this point in time?
Well, it's certainly a very hard preparation time in getting ready for flight, and we have been working hard ever since our assignment to this Apollo 11. However, our pace has certainly not been unreasonable, and we think that we're certainly not unduly fatigued, and we're ready to fly.
I'd like to ask Michael Collins, the forgotten man of Apollo 11, if he can tell us exactly what he expects to be doing up in that command module at the time that Neil Armstrong steps out on the lunar surface.
Well, primarily just tending the store, Mr. Clark. As you may realize, the command module is a very complex vehicle, and just to do nothing inside it requires a good deal of switch throwing and a certain amount of attention. So I expect to be keeping the command module ready for Neil and Buzz's return the next day, and I'll be quite busy doing that.
This is for Mr. Armstrong. There's been speculation about what the first man on the moon will say when he gets there. Will you prepare something ahead of time, or will it be prepared for you, or can we expect a spontaneous exclamation?
Well, certainly nothing has been prepared for me, and our attention during the training period and up till now has been focused on how to do the job and how to do it best, and not so much with what might be the emotions of the moment. I think that would be impossible to predict, and so I do not plan to guess at this point what my emotions might dictate, if anything. As a matter of fact, I think perhaps the highlight for those of us in the LEM will probably be a successful touchdown. I really look forward to that the most this time.
Colonel Aldrin, would you be satisfied if you just achieved a successful landing and takeoff, but for some reason could not step out on the lunar surface and collect the first samples of the moon rock?
Well, I think it's been fairly clearly stated that we're going to feel that we've accomplished a successful mission if we land men on the moon and return them safely. And I believe that is the primary mission, as stated. We would like to add as much as we possibly can to this for the return from this flight, and also to maximize the benefits that will be able to be obtained from previous or the succeeding flights. We'd like to solve as many of their problems ahead of time and give them as much advice on how to get more return for our lunar flights.
What 4 events in the flight, in order if you can, do you consider the most dangerous?
Well, I don't know. The most dangerous items are those that we've overlooked and not devoted enough attention to in our preparations. And, of course, I have no idea at this time what, if any, they may be. I hope there are none.
Along those same lines, Mr. Armstrong, I've heard that your mission has been given by some people an 80% chance of total mission success. Do you agree with that? Are those the rough general figures that you would come up with?
I don't have a lot of statistics at hand, but I think that's a reasonable estimate.
Mr. Armstrong, you and Colonel Aldrin are going to be on the moon for almost a day. Do you expect to be able to sleep during your rest periods in the lunar module?
Well, I don't know about those. I suspect I'll be surprised if I'm able to get sound sleep on the lunar surface. But fortunately, our flight plan doesn't require that. We have adequate rest on both the night before and the night after the one in question, and I think even if my worst suspicions are true, we'll be in fine shape.
That completes the conference. Thank you very much, gentlemen, and good luck from everybody here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.